At that point, I'm living in my car, just trying to be outside and as frequently as possible and photograph. My dad is like, what are you doing? Photographers take photos of architects. I'm investing in your life, and the reason I'm invested in your creative journey was for you to be elevated, but now you're pursuing this journey, taking a camera. I got that email. It was not relief, but an opportunity for me to show my parents that the assuredness that I had was not just dumb luck. Now I have a chance to actually prove that I can do this weird stuff and make it some sort of living. There's something about a few dollars in the bank that'll change your parents' mind. When I showed them the check, I was like, hey, ask Google what's the starting salary. Hey, listen.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 160 of the 505 podcast. Today we got Karl Shakur on the show. Now he's one of the most interesting people on the internet when he's not driving Bugattis in some of the most interesting places in the world. He's one of the top creators on Instagram, and he's amassed a following of over 1 million.
This episode is really special for me. Karl's been probably my favorite creator on the platform for some time now. We go deep into his storytelling process and what it takes to create content for brands at the highest level.
I mean, he totally left an architecture degree to go all in on Instagram, and he gives you guys the blueprint for building a personal brand, storytelling, connecting with your audience, and everything you're going to need to be successful as a creator.
Karl truly is an anomaly. He creates content so consistently and at like the highest level. He's one of our most requested guests, so we're so stoked for this episode. Let's go.
So you have a master's degree in architecture. Okay. We get an email with a $70,000 brand deal. Okay. What is going through your mind when you get this email? Take me back through that moment.
Wow. Well, at that point, I'm living in my car. I'm living in my car and underneath the conference table of a hotel somewhere in Utah, just trying to be outside and as frequently as possible and photograph. And I got that email. Funny enough, I think I expected something to come soon. It was not relief, but an opportunity for me to show my parents that like the assuredness that I had was not just dumb luck or like confusion. It was like, hey, fuck yeah, let's fucking go for this. Now I have a chance to actually prove that I can do this weird stuff and make it some sort of living. Because at that point in my life, the starting salary for all of my peers who graduated school was $65,000 per annum. For a year, which means as soon as I graduated, I'm instantly already making more than all of my peers. And this is like around 4 years into my creative journey, but the first year where I actually had to have a job, the year I graduated. I got that, told my parents, yeah, I guess I get a couple more months before I have to come back home and look for a job, huh?
That's crazy.
That's kind of what that mindset was like.
And so you get the brand deal. Yeah. How do you use the money? Like, are you just funding your travels for the next little bit?
This is what's particularly interesting about this is that I always expected to be going home to look for jobs sometime soon. So it was a situation where, so then I have 5 more months for funding travel to Southeast Asia. Maybe I'll go to India, tell some unique stories, like do some street photography, do some landscapes, and then I have to return home to Nigeria, which is where my parents were based at the time. I'm dual citizen, US and Nigeria, but I grew up in Nigeria. I'm gonna go home to Nigeria and start applying for jobs in San Francisco and Chicago. And it's just a matter of time, before I do this. So I didn't approach it expecting to like prolong the career. I just wanted to make that tiny little stretch of time, which is what I was expecting to be on 6 months or maybe 12 months, a profound gap year that I could tell my kids about. And that gap year has just kept going and going and going and going. And for some reason, people are still paying me to do this, but I'm not complaining. So that's kind of like the mindset I'm having that whole process. That's how that goes.
How on board were they with this decision?
Completely off board.
Okay, and I know a lot of people have that relationship with their parents, especially in the creative field.
Yeah.
And you have an insane degree. It's not like you're a, it's like underwater basket weaving. Yeah. This is like you're an architect. This is a very sought after degree. It's very difficult for people to get it. How did that convo go? Like, what did you say to your mom and dad?
Well, I specifically remember a moment, and my dad hates when I tell this story because he regrets saying this now. But I remember we were sitting in front of the student union in between Seton Hall and the student union, which is the architecture hall. I went to Kansas State University. And my dad had just found out that I I just came back from one of my send trips. Send trip is what I'd call them, is what I drive. Occasionally I drive like 14 hours from Kansas to go to the Grand Canyon, or 12 hours to go to Colorado, like the Rocky Mountains, or a little bit more, 13 hours to go to Wyoming to photograph. So at this time, I'm a landscape storyteller. That's what I'm doing at the time. And I just come back, I think it was shortly before the summer break, and my dad is like, what are you doing? Photographers take photos of architects. What are you doing? Or I'm investing in your life, and the reason I'm invested in your creative journey was for you to be elevated, but now you're pursuing this journey, taking a camera. And that kind of reprimanding is coming from a place of love, of thinking that I'm wasting the opportunities that he's given me, and like fearfulness that I'm veering down the wrong path. He really wants me to be like a successful individual in life, but
He just wanted you to win.
yeah, he just want like, bro, I'm setting you up. What are you're fumbling the bag right now.
It's coming from a place of love.
Yeah, totally.
Of like worriedness, like
Yeah.
how like this kid that I gave everything to, like my firstborn son, like how's he gonna, like what are you doing? And then slowly and gradually, there's something about a few dollars in the bank that'll change your parents' mind. When I showed him the check, I was like, hey, look at the, as Google wants to start selling. Hey, listen. And then that's like a pin in the hat. Okay, but what are you gonna do next? And then I do something next. Okay. So how does this apply? Okay. Okay. So how are you using your degree? Okay. Oh, so the photography. Okay, connects. Okay. And year after year, they start. And now my parents are my biggest backers, my biggest fans, as traditional African parents. Because anyone who has traditional African parents knows the only metric they want is the money or the success. Like, show us, like, either you have to be incredibly insane academically or renowned around the world for something specific, or so that they can tell their friends and their peers about the success of, look at my son, look at my boy, look at my boy. That's what they want to do. Or they want you to make sure that, like, that you're gonna be set. By the time you have kids, you don't have to worry about. They just want to set you up for the future. And when I started to show them that I'm able to get those things from this weird career that it did not exist at this time that we started this.
That's what I was going to say is like, there was no really proof of concept. Yeah. Now I feel like if we were to have kids and they were to come to us and say, hey, we want to be full-time content creators.
Okay,
makes sense.
You got to post every day. Yeah. It takes a lot of time. You see how Logan Paul did it. There's like map ways for us to follow. But like at this time, no one knows what's going to happen. Instagram could get blocked. TikTok did not exist at that time. TikTok didn't exist at the time that I was graduating.
That's crazy.
It was like Musically. It's called Musically or something like that. Yeah.
So $70K for a brand deal is a shitload of money.
Yes.
So what at the time made the brand feel like they were getting their money's worth? Because that's a lot for a brand to invest in a creator. So you were doing a lot of landscape stuff at the time.
Yes.
Walk us through what the deliverables were like for that brand deal and what the brand kind of got for the $70K.
Okay. So the top line is $70K. This is an airline and a bank collaboration. So it's a very reputable airline and a very reputable bank that collaborated for this to promote one of their specific like credit cards. The asks were I had to be in commercials that were running in almost every airport that this airline flew in. I was in magazine ads. I was in ads on social media, on YouTube. I had like something like 40 posts over the course of the year that I had to deliver them, and 3 photo sets that accompanied each photo set. I had to go for a shoot in San Antonio, I think it was, and Hong Kong. And the deliverable set, if I'm looking back with today's mindset,
they got a bargain.
They got a good deal.
They got a deal.
They got a good deal. But I think specifically what really set myself apart at the time that I was doing that in the landscape community is that I tried my best to rely on the things that made me excited about life. So rather than just taking the photo of what the landscape was, it would be a series of photos that showed my process of what it got to take the photo. So I was kind of capturing storytelling without the knowledge of what it was, because I wanted, basically my main goal was to let other people who look like me or come from like a similar background as myself is like, this can I cuss on this?
Yeah.
This shit is crazy. You see these mountains? This is wild. Other people, like, you can do this shit too. Like, I know you don't think it's just a 5-hour drive from San Francisco, then you can get to Yosemite. I just wanted people who look like me to feel this thing and hopefully it would get other people to come out. But unknowingly to myself, I was infusing my personality into the process and into the whole thing. And because it was coming from a travel perspective, they have this guy who is showcasing his personality, and also has camera awareness because he's always having his friends take photos of him as he enjoys the outdoors. And so I think striking that balance, I don't think my audience was necessarily the pull, because I wasn't such a big creator at the time, but specifically because my enthusiasm for the outdoors and for travel was like palpable and clear. I had presentational skills. Actually, yes, presentational skills. So when it comes to voiceovers, I have the ability to like speak like deeply into the mic and have it sound convicting, like I'm actually talking about something, because I spent 5-6 years practicing, like defending a project. This is why I made these creative decisions to do this. And then the professor asked you to do this. And then so they're interviewing me for the job. And they're like, oh, this guy can talk. So if we know we have to have a voiceover segment, he's at least we know he's gonna slay it. And then I'm trying, because I have these interpersonal skills that I'm building school, I know that it's time to put on a show. So I'm trying to like really jive with them. And like, so they're like, all right, we gotta fuck with this guy. All right, yeah. I mean, he doesn't have a big following, but hey, let's take a shot. And then when I'm on set, I'm doing my best to like, oh, you want me to do it? I'll do it twice. Let me get it, And I guess that just trying to provide as much value as I can is what led to allowing them to take a chance on me.
Where did your love for storytelling stem from?
I'm still upset at that shit score that I got on that cat.
Dude, it happens. Happens to the best of us.
Man.
It's okay.
I wanted to order a pack of LaCroix and practice, but hey, listen. I'll be back.
Round two.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
Yeah. We're running back.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
Go for it. Go for it.
I just want to know, like, where did your love for storytelling come from? And did you always have this deep desire to travel the world and just tell stories and create?
Honestly, I don't necessarily know. It's something that's always been intrinsic to me. I've always, like when I was in school, this is from around 7th grade to 12th grade, I went to boarding school in Kwara State in Nigeria. My friends used to call me gra gra, which means like somebody who's hyperactive. He's always doing shit. Why you climbing that tree? Why you, bro, you're too busy. Why you jump it? Chill. But all my friends, a lot of my closest friends, Frankie included, my creative partner, they're just like cool demeanor, like very calm guys. But it's just not my energy. I'm very inquisitive and I want to see a lot of stuff. So that tendency kind of led to a desire for adventure and for like inquisitiveness. But for storytelling, I think the basis truly comes from justification. Why am I doing this? Okay, so you're climbing this mountain, but why? Why are you standing on the edge of the cliff? And then I have to, because of my background, my creative background in architecture, why did I make these creative decisions? I made this because of this, and this led to this. And then all of a sudden you're more invested in the process and in the output, whatever the output is. If I show you a pretty photo and I tell you how I got that pretty photo, it makes you more invested in the pretty photo. So I was like, I noticed that people are latching on more if I truly tell them what it took me to get to that process. So it just kind of made sense, and I just fell into it a little bit.
Flag on the play. We'll get right back into this episode, but I got to let you know about my good friends at MotionRay. They've been coming out with so many awesome assets in their catalog. I'm talking thousands of different pieces. They have music, they got sound effects, they got AI voiceover, overlays, graphics, titles. I mean, the list goes on. You got to check them out. They're linked down in the description. And actually with the 505 Pods code, you get $50 off a year subscription. It's insane bang for your buck when you really think about everything that you're getting. And my whole goal here is to save you guys time and money, because we both know I'm not trying to spend days making a little title. I'm trying to get that ASAP so I can get it over to my clients, get them out the door, make people happy, make more money for everybody involved. If you want to check out MotionRay, check them out. First link down in the description. Let's keep going with this episode. Come on. Is there a strategy behind like going to a place now? You've done it for so long.
Yeah.
Like you go to a place, we're going to Italy.
Yeah.
Like what is your thought process? Are you scripting and writing down like, hey, okay, we're going to have a travel piece going from the airport to said location. I know I'm going to get 6 great photos out of this. I know you travel with some awesome creators too, that you guys help one another out.
Yeah.
What does that look like now at this level where you're at in this moment?
It really just depends on the kind of day. Like initially, for example, we're supposed to meet a few weeks ago before we had some technical difficulties. We had to reschedule. The story for that day was, I think I'm going to position it around touring my office. So I'm going to, after we're done at the tour, I'm going to take the boys to my office, show them my office. And then it didn't happen. So that idea kind of fizzled out. But today, for example, I had a shoot in the morning.
5 a.m.
Yeah, 5 a.m. shoot in the morning.
Small client. Nothing too crazy.
With Bugatti. 5 a.m. shoot this morning with Bugatti. And so now I have to then position, if I'm filming for the entirety of the day and I want to make a piece, I have to draw the commonalities between. So I have this creative situation that's happening in the morning. I have this podcast that I have to do in the afternoon.
3 p.m. pod, I mean 12.
I have a little podcast that I have to do in the afternoon. Maybe, what is the through line? Maybe, okay, now we're looking at things that, it's just a pretty hectic day. Maybe we're telling the story of what it's like to go across a day in a hectic fashion. And then, okay, then what are the stakes? What do I get if I don't succeed? Maybe it's burnout and a lack of preparation for another trip that I have coming up. What do I get if I succeed? Maybe it's like success with the client. The client is happy with the photos that I create and the audience is happy with the podcast we make. So then I have to try and set the stakes for myself and also at the same time make it not look like you're setting the stakes. I feel like that's where the finesse is, you know? Like there's a different thing. It makes a slight difference if you're like, all right, so if I don't do this, this is gonna happen. Versus if I'm having a conversation with somebody that's off screen, it's like, bro, I'm truly stressed about this. Like if I don't do this, then it might have to be a situation where it's like trying to weave in like personal conversations to build the stakes so that like the state, you don't have to set up the stakes. The setup is already done for you, so that as much like little work can be done in post. Now, to answer your question, this is very long-winded. A lot of the time when I'm going on trips with friends, it's usually just a spray and pray kind of situation. You know,
you find that keeps you more in the moment?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so you're not. Have you done it before where you're like writing shit out and then you're like, that's not the vibe?
Yeah, it's not necessarily the vibe. We do have like benchmarks that we know that we're gonna hit. We know, okay, so for this trip, we're flying into Bologna. We're gonna do this Ducati week. Then we're gonna rent Lamborghinis. Then we're gonna like climb a mountain. I know that I want to tell the story of the mountain and getting to pick up the Lamborghinis and arrive in Italy. The beauty of storytelling is that so much interesting stuff is gonna happen along the way. So you better invest in a lot of SSDs because you're gonna be shooting a lot. You know?
Tell me why these SSDs be so pricey.
I don't know,
bro.
man.
We just bought one for $1,400.
Wow,
8 terabytes.
How many?
Bro.
Oh my
but it
God.
rips. But it rips. But it rips.
It rips.
I'm talking like it's the fastest one on the market.
That's good. That's good.
I mean, we're gonna dump all this stuff.
I'm gonna need that link. I'm gonna need that link.
I transferred 865 gigs this morning off a 1 terabyte hard drive or SD card.
Yeah,
and it took 25 minutes. It was ripping fast.
Yeah, we're flying.
Wow.
But no free ads.
Around.
Yeah. So that is the secret. You just gotta have all that
and
all
keep
that stuff
the camera
and then
rolling
like as much as possible. And this is not like if you're shooting with an R5, like a Red or whatever, it's the same process as shooting with an iPhone. You know, sometimes I find that an iPhone is actually easy because it's easier to get natural reactions from people if you just have it rolling on yourself. It's easy to turn on yourself. You don't have to turn it on, finagle with your settings. Oh, let me get my internal ND. Oh, can I get the Polaroid? Yeah.
So do you find that the tool that you use doesn't matter for you these days? You could use a camcorder, your phone, doesn't matter. You're like, I'm still gonna make something awesome.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily for one reason.
Okay.
I think because I've spent a series of years carving out a very specific visual style. I feel like now that visual style is attached to me and I'm attached to that style. So I have to find ways to keep iterating down that alley. For example, I'm sure that I can make compelling stories with an iPhone or with big cinema rig sets, like setups, or like with like, you know, like what the DJI thing with the, you know, there's so many different looks, or like the FPV look, but I'd rather try and dial in my storytelling skills with the tools that I have, which does happen to be an R5, and then see how much more that I can expand my storytelling capabilities within that lane. If I started with an iPhone, which a lot of creators are doing nowadays, it does give you a lot more flexibility. I dream for the day when I just check in my bag and I'm just with a backpack in the airport. Oh, no lenses. You don't have to carry any lenses. You just got a little.
I think it's funny how Apple also like the way they promote the new iPhones is like you can shoot a movie on this. It's like to an extent.
I mean, you can, but
we're waiting for that 1-inch sensor. You know.
I don't think it. Oh, that would be crazy.
How do you continue to push yourself creatively? Like you're someone who creates every single day. Obviously, you have a ton of different tools at your disposal.
Yeah.
How do you continue to push yourself creatively?
I don't want to be contrite or like a little self-inflated, but I truly feel like the process of creating is a true extension of myself, in the sense that if I'm not making some sort of thing, I feel like incomplete in the process. So that could be something as simple as cooking to as contrived as like writing a 25-minute long narrative piece that is shot in whatever. I just have to internally. I have to keep making. Now, I think specifically the answer that might be valuable to people is like how to create on a consistent basis is to try and make a rhythm out of it, to make it a thing. Oh, in August, I'm starting my thing. And I'm going to let everyone know. I'm going to let my girlfriend know. I'm going to let my mama know. And my mom's going to call me and be like, oh, how's that thing that you said you were going to start? And then if you're falling short of the thing, then everybody's going to know that you're falling short of the thing. Write it in your journal. Put it in, I'm going to do the thing. For me right now, it's this series. I'm calling it the Shaker Show. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, slightly more in-depth pieces. I dive into it. It could be short, long. Call it a thing. I've been prepping for the last few months. Get there. 100 episodes, close a chapter. Whoo, that's done. Whoo, we did a good job. And then move on to the next thing, So if you create some sort of episodic, even if it's something as simple as choosing a creative process that you do on a frequent basis, on a daily basis, like, I need to write this amount of words towards my book, or I need to practice like this skill. That kind of rhythm and structure will allow you and propel you in a positive direction to keep trying to make what it is that you're making.
What have you found from posting? Like I know you did a series where you're posting every day for 100 days.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you finally get a breather from that, and then you come back and you're like maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Yeah. What do you think right now is something that creators should be doing? Because I've been doing every day, and just for myself, I mean, it's been crazy just to see the numbers and like. Yeah. I know I'll talk to people and they're like, well, I only like to post twice a week. I finally get more views, but it's like, they're sitting longer. Yeah. So it's like, but the collective of me doing 20 days of a collective, even if like, let's say they average out, let's say they average out 10,000 or something. I mean, that's crazy numbers if you add up 30 days of it. Yeah. I'm curious kind of what you're finding.
Well, I think because I posted, this is back in
Was it last year?
2017. 2017 first.
Oh, first. Okay.
I posted every day for something like a year and a half.
But that was mostly photo?
Images. That was images.
Okay. So I had to. A lot easier than
that's a lot easier. So that was my first like haul. And then short form started and COVID started. In 2020 is my transition from simple video to more in-depth video. Like, let me learn the skills and let me really dive in, Okay, now I gotta start shooting log, all that, that transition. Okay, I learned that process and had to be consistent over the course of like 2-3 months to learn it. Got that with all these tiny little campaigns or so, I'm getting slight bumps in audience size. And then this last one, I almost doubled my audience size. So I think
with the 100 days,
with the 100 days, yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Almost doubled.
Yes. On Instagram alone. That's when I hit 1 million on Instagram alone. So I think I started the process of something like 600,000, and then I got to 1 million. I think now, rather than focusing on quantity, because what's the
built
next,
it now.
Yeah.
I mean,
what's the next benchmark is like 10 million.
Yeah.
Or 1 million subs. Rather than focusing on volume, I want to try and give myself the opportunity to showcase to the people that I have brought into the fold what it is that truly makes me me. So making sure that I have as varied a menu of items to offer people that offer different aspects of my personality and my creative like intentions to pick up. That way, I feel like at least I've done my due diligence, at least for the next series, to dive deeply into who I am and what it is that I desire, what I want out of life, or creatively like what I want to do. And then I can go back to trying to chase something else.
I think that there's like seasons And I also think that like you're in a season, you were in a season of like, let me go hard as fuck at this. Okay, now let me like regroup.
Yeah.
Let me figure out what's next.
Yeah.
And now this next season, it's, you know, the next thing that you're doing.
Exactly.
I also think you bring up a good point of like creativity is a muscle.
Yes.
And it needs to be worked.
Stimulated on a frequent basis.
And
Absolutely.
so I find for myself, if I go a decent amount of time without maybe talking to the camera or creating,
you lose the edge.
you lose the edge. It doesn't feel as natural. And when you come back, you're like, I feel almost a little awkward.
Man, I got to do it for like a week or so to get in the bones.
But when you get back to it, you're like, oh, I'm in the flow.
I'm on. So like the issue with like trying to go back to your question, the daily post versus the whatever kind of cocktail that I'm trying to weave up is that daily posts, they get you specifically good at generating short forms on a daily basis. And I found that like my skills were growing in that direction, but a lot of the other skills that I could have been developing, like writing or like color grading or like other like set dressing, other tiny little aspects of the entirety of the package that excite me, I was kind of lacking on because all my focus was dialed into streamlining my process of getting a short form video out. So this is now an opportunity that forces me to kind of like, okay, we've done this kind of video. Now you have to make a specifically play video. I have 5 flavors of videos that I try and
What are the flavors?
Play.
Is this like pillars or
Yes.
Okay, pillars. Okay.
So it's six pillars. One is a long form video. Can be whatever kind of long form. Play, which is do whatever the fuck you want. You want to make a dancing video, do it. You want to make a drone video, you want to make a time lapse of Hong Kong, whatever it is. That's just for me. If it performs crazy, that's cool. If it doesn't do shit, that's fine. This is just what I felt like making that year, that day. That's play. Process is like a BTS. So like, how do I do this? How do I do it? That's the ploy for, hey audience, this is how I can provide value for you. Here's an example of, some work that I did, and here's how I did it. Share it with your friend. Maybe this can bring them on board so they can. So that's a ploy for me to try and like appease to a larger audience, which is a lot of the stuff that I did for the 100-day challenge. It was like almost 95% of that was just here's how to. Here's all my value, all my tricks. Boom, boom, boom. It's good, but who are you? Like, what do you like? Like, what do you. So it's easy to build audience size. So now instead of making 4 out of 5 video, like process videos, I'm making 1 out of 5. Now moving to the others, pitch, an opportunity for me to showcase what I can do commercially. I take a product that I like, maybe it's like a vintage set of golf clubs, or like I bought a Mont Blanc pen early in the year that I really like because I like writing. Just showcasing that in a very interesting way to signal to prospective clientele, hey, if you're looking for a guy who can tell stories about literally anything, coffee pods, whatever it is, I'm the guy. You should pay me. Buzz the line. Let's get it figured, So that's process, play, pitch, portfolio. Sharing with my audience what's going on in my business life, and personal, which is just like what's happening in my personal life. I posted one a few days ago. One of my friends just won the Cheetah Rivera Award for outstanding dance performance in a Broadway show. And I just followed him around for a day, interviewing him, and then went to the award show and he won the award. And I put that together. Yeah, like photographers, that doesn't appease to me in any way, But now you have a little bit of insight into who Karl is, who his community is, what he's invested in. Oh, he likes excellence, people who are succeeding. He likes to invest in friends who are hardworking. So it gives you more insight into my personality, and so these 5 pillars allow me to like showcase all different parts of my personalities and hopefully at least give you a better understanding. Like audience size is like a pyramid. You can either build a height and it's thin and spindly, or you can build the base. So I've built the height. Now it's time for me to fortify the base with the thickness and the wealth of like true connection with the people online, so that I can hopefully have a stronger structure. Whatever, who knows? It might be time to build the Eiffel Tower next. I could keep going up after this, but I got to do this first.
That's spoken like a true architect.
Yeah. You know how to build the base.
There we go.
But like, why now? Why go deep? Why build depth with your audience? Was there a point where you hit the milli? You're like, all right, I got that milestone, but I want to share more of myself. Like, why try to build the depth with the audience?
I think it's because I've I've honestly been doing this for a long time. It's coming on a little more than a decade. So when I was at the beginning of architecture school, it's like, okay, now doing this, and like there's only so much that you can do, you know. I feel like I'm basically trying to use the opportunity to test little different interests that I could find that hopefully that might lead to an opportunity for me to push in a certain direction creatively. Like if through the process, maybe I'm doing like a pitch video and I'm talking about embroidered jackets and I go to this museum in China where they embroider certain jackets, and all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, embroidery, and then I fall into it, and then the audience is brought along for the process of falling in love with embroidery. All of a sudden I'm an embroidery guy, you know. I'm like in my studio like sewing shit up, you know. That I want to be able to like catalog the process of what it takes me to find another outlet, and not force it on the audience, but bring them along with the process of discovery so that they can discover it as well.
You mentioned with play, you're like, I don't care how this does.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way about everything? Or
No.
Do you feel hyper competitive about wanting it to do super well?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay.
And something I've noticed is too, is if you're not posting on a frequent basis, the first few back are duds. They're duds. They go down into the gutter. And then you're like, wow, so I guess it's time for me to go back to my mom's house and look for that job, huh? You know? But
has it gotten easier over time, or is it still very hard?
It does not get easier over time. Like there's things that you can do to remove yourself from the process. For example, I've signed out of Instagram on my laptop, so every time I'm on my I can't log in and see my insights, and I've set it up in such a way that because I've clicked it so many times, Instagram is not like, all right, that's enough. Like, make an account, and it doesn't show me the page, so I can't see it. On my phone, I don't have social media on my phone. No Instagram, no TikTok. It's sitting in my office on the iPad. So when I'm out on the street,
wow,
I can't be like, how's my post doing? Let me see.
Has that been better for you?
It's been better in a sense. Like, it does remove you from the process of discovering what's trending, but that allows for slightly more authentic expression of self. Like it's coming from a magazine you found, or like a photo book that you found, or a friend told you something and you researched it. You're like, whoa. I feel like there's different tiers of subject matter discovery. I feel like a lot of the times I'm looking at other world-class creators, not to call myself that, but I'm looking at creators and I'm seeing what's working for them, and I'm like, okay, how do I modify that and make it come from my perspective? That's one of the ways that people do it. But then there's also books and movies and like other like radio. There's so many other like valves that you can open to mix into your bucket that can allow you to have a varied asset. If people are all pulling from themselves, then it's all like the Spider-Man meme and everyone's looking at themselves, you know? So trying to pull myself away from that as much, like just a little bit allows at least. And if it's not performing, you best believe I'm gonna be scrolling, seeing what other people are doing. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna go back. All right,
so
okay,
do you
Peter
feel like
McKinnon, let's see what,
you have like an analytical brain as well? It's not purely just art. It's like you're looking and seeing, you know, what is working. What did I do this day that resonated with people? Why did it resonate? What are comments saying? Yes.
And I think one of the friends that I have who's very, very good at this, because he's coming from a very short form space, is Tucker. I don't know if you guys are aware of Tucker. He's got such a good understanding, a finger on the pulse of like what specifically made something resonate with the audience and made them stick 1 second longer. I rely a little bit more on my feeling, but because I'm best friends with this boy, I'd be like, yo, what do you think about this? What's tripping? What's not tripping? I send it to him, and then he explains it to me. So it allows me to better understand stuff as I go forward. But because also that I've gotten to this benchmark, I feel like now is an opportunity to explore, at least over the next few like weeks to months. You never know. Try whatever. I'm trying to get back to the old days of like, hey, let's go over there. Let's see what's up. You know, explore it. And then hopefully I'm able to find new gems that other people latch onto and other people are excited by, that then allows me to show that I'm also multifaceted in different ways as well.
Because you've been doing it for so long, I think even you trying, it's still gonna be pretty damn good. I heard Kevin Hart talk about this one time. Somebody asked him about if he bombs.
Are you about to compare me to Kevin Hart?
You're the Kevin Hart of Instagram.
Don't even.
Yeah.
No.
Yo.
He
said he was talking to, it was a joint interview between him and I want to say like Chris Rock or another big time comedian. And the question was about bombing. And they said, you know, we don't really bomb anymore because we've been doing it for so long. When we're trying to work out new material, it might not be all the way there, but it's still going to be pretty good because we've like, in a sense, mastered the craft. And I feel like for you,
that goes back to the metaphor you're talking about, like creativity being like a muscle that you work out.
Been doing it for so long.
I'm so creatively jacked.
Dude, my creative brain is swole.
Has been all over it, dude. My creative brain definitely does steroids.
But that kind of made me.
You're juicy.
Think about that. Yeah, you are pretty fucking ripped. What's your like, you know, what's your meal plan these days? What's your workout plan?
Actually, are you serious about this? You want me to dive into it?
Talk about it.
I'm gonna do 1 minute.
All the help you can get.
I'm gonna do 1 minute. I'm gonna do 1 minute. I eat around 220 grams of protein every single day. That's like 2 tubs of ground turkey.
Are you 220?
I'm like 205, 208 right now, but I'm training for marathons.
We're the same weight.
You're training for a marathon?
Yeah.
Hybrid athlete.
That is crazy.
Yeah. So I'm around 220 to try and not lose as much fat, like body weight as possible. I'm constantly eating. I'm also a big like foodie, but not a foodie in like that's a good spot. I'm a foodie in like, they got a chopped cheese, let's go over there. Eat it. I just love food. So it's a lot of eating, but also a lot of working out. I run around 5 times a week. I work out around 7 times a week, which means multiple days of activities every single day. In the morning, it's around like 7 a.m., 8 a.m. I'm in the gym. In the night, I'll go for a run or I switch it, and I'm running around like 30 to 35 miles every single week. So like some days 10 miles, 7 miles.
All I can say for this marathon, I'm gonna give you one piece, okay? Just try your best not to get hurt and stretch. Because I did not stretch. I'm not a guy who stretches.
You're gonna make me try and stretch.
I don't like
mobility
stretching, bro.
is one of my biggest.
It's your big
flexes.
things? Thank God. Because
Like-
I don't stretch. And it after
Oh, you've run a marathon.
I ran one, bro.
How was that?
It was terrible. But after 15 miles, I got hurt on like training. And so I never went past 15. So on the day, like you got to get to your 20-mile day.
Yeah.
Like you got to do whatever you can to tape yourself together to like finish that day so then you can actually be used to the distance.
Yeah.
So like after 15 miles in the day, I was like, bro, what are we doing? Like, how long are we going to be out here for? And it was like, I was like, you got like 75-year-old grandmas that are just soaring by me.
Like powering
It's
through,
the
like,
craziest shit you've ever seen. You're going to go, you're going to see so many different body types that are so fast.
Have a good race.
Bro, it's crazy.
Have a good race.
Yeah, keep it going.
On your right.
And she's just trotting along, and I'm like dying, bro. And it's funny because you'll be seeing jacked people back, bro. I was like, okay, I'm with the guys that clearly didn't train enough, and that's where we're hanging out.
So I'm trying to build my pace. My goal is sub 3 2027 or end of 2026. That's my goal. I'm incredibly driven. I know I can do the splits. I can.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I take mobility very seriously.
Thank God.
So it's also one of my gifts. I also take like this is a workout podcast now? I also take
switching it up.
Explosive movement very easily. Like I'm doing toe hops every single day, like stretching my shins.
Okay, on the topic of explosiveness. If someone wants explosive growth on social, okay, they want to make it full time. They want to do this shit. They want to actually take it all the way.
Yeah.
They see your Instagram, they're like, I want to do this.
Yeah.
What are three things that they need to have?
Excellent transition.
They have dialed.
Excellent transition.
I do this. I've done this a few times. I've done this a couple times.
Okay, 3 things. I say, like I said before, figure out a rhythm for consistency. That is the first thing. Secondly, I'd say maybe I don't know if I'm making annoying smacking sounds.
No, you're good.
Secondly, I'd say figure out your pools for inspiration. Like find people in your niches that are doing things very successfully and what they're doing, and figuring out like how they're making it work. Try and figure that out. Then pull from books. Like there's people. The thing is, what I've noticed is that almost no ideas are new. Like yesterday, we were watching the music video for this Janet Jackson. I think it's what is it? I'll have to show you afterwards. But I was floored by the beauty of the video, and I checked the year that it was uploaded. It was 1997. Wow! It was shot in 1997.
Great year.
And it looked insane. It looked like it was shot last year, and I was like, the bar has been up there the whole time. So there's so many places you can pull from. Diversifying that pool of like where you're pulling from allows for people not to, people see a lot of stuff on social media. It gets repetitive. Allows you to get varied enough information that can make yourself unique, because we are only the people that we pull from. And then lastly, not forgetting to inject yourself into the process.
I think that's
You are
what
the
most
maker.
people miss.
You are the maker. You're making it. You're doing it. So let's know how you do it. Let's know why you want to do it. You're part of the process as well. In today's days of like social media, you have to be part of the process, because that makes people not only fall in love with the work that you're making, but also fall in love with you as an individual. And I think that's a very, very important part that people, it's because it's very like, what's the word? It's like sensitive, you know? It's like, oh, me, I don't want to show me. This thing that is an extension of me, I can show you that, but I don't want to tell you my darkest secrets. But I feel like that's a very intimate part that makes it, it's vulnerable is what I was like. It makes it like people invested in whatever it is that you want to make.
When you started to inject, your personality into the things that you were doing, because right, for a period of time, you're like, beautiful images are doing the job. Like, it's getting it done. People are seeing it. Your account's growing. When you start to inject yourself, was that a moment where you were like, I don't know if this is going to work? Like, a lot of photographers aren't doing video, right?
Yes.
Because I think when Reels came to Instagram,
it's before Reels, is when stories came.
Okay, that's when you were like, I need to be thinking about video.
Okay, so then how do I
integrate this?
That's when the transition was like, okay, so stories. Like, what is this tool? I'm not a video guy. What am I gonna like make my photos move or something? And then I don't. It's literally what I'm thinking. Man, now I gotta make cinemagraphs. Okay, I gotta make GIFs. No. It was an opportunity for me to like look at things. I didn't get your full question, by the way. Is look at things a little bit differently. But what I noticed there was a lot of apprehension from specifically the landscape photographers, because we're a craft-based community and not a personality-based community. Like, for example, a lot of people that we know would rather be called a photographer rather than an influencer. They'd rather be called a cinematographer rather than an influencer. They don't want to be known as somebody who sells their personality. And that, I understand the effects of that, because when you look at influencers, it's not something that you align yourself with. However, I do think that there's a lot of things that we as creatives, as business people, as sellers of craft, can take away from that process, is that there's value to adding on to personality and showcasing that not only do you have the skills to generate a product or whatever it's like a beautiful video, a seminar, whatever it is, but you have the personality to sell that product.
You told us that about 95% of your income comes from Instagram.
Yes.
So you're well versed in the brand deal landscape and campaigns on Instagram.
Yeah.
Do you find that because you've been able to bring in your personality, not only can you create incredible work, you bring in your personality, people love Karl.
Yeah.
Do you find that that's a big reason why a lot of these brands want to work with you?
Well, I think it's two reasons specifically. I think I have a very, very difficult time half-assing shit. Like, if, for example, if I'm presenting something to a client's like, oh, we'd love to work with you. Here's an example of a really good video that you did. And I look at the video and it's a video that took me 2 months, and I'm like, fuck, that's what they're expecting. Fuck. Look, so now I gotta flex. So now Frankie and I are up late into the night. How can we make this better? How can we do this? We're talking to my most creative friends, trying to pile it on, because I don't want to disappoint them, because that's what they expected from my personal work. I think specifically what allows it to be slightly different is that, and I think people struggle a lot with this, is that I approach my personal work and my commercial work with the same amount of vigor and investment. It's almost a creative challenge to me, that how can I get you on board, you as the audience? How can I showcase that you can be invested in not only this video, but this product that I'm selling to the same level as something that you would already be invested in? So now I gotta, so if I was gonna shoot it 60 FPS, now I gotta shoot it at 1 billion FPS, So I have to like put in extra work to like buy back, because at the end of the day, posting is selling out. But with what you're selling, are you providing excellent value? Because as the audience who's consuming the media, it's like, why am I going to watch you tell me about this product? Am I a tech guy? All right, I'll watch it. Why am I? But now all of a sudden, it's not a tech product. It's not this. Now I got to provide value. I got to pay you for the time that you spent consuming the video with something that excites your interest, maybe in a slightly different way that you wouldn't expect. Taking that approach with every single ad that I create, I think is what allows the clients to keep coming back.
What does the process look like? A brand emails you, they're ready to rock and roll. Like, we really want to work with you. Number of lines. Then what do you do?
70 bands, 40 deliverables.
70 deliverables for the 505 pod.
The year is
over 4 years.
2015 or whatever it is, 2014.
How do we make the damn thing happen?
Okay, so usually it's a process of reaching out to people who are much more skilled than myself as it relates to what specific aspect matter is. For example, if it's the client wants a slightly absurd, interesting look at like an athletic photo shoot. I know I can shoot photos, right? But now I have to, so they want absurd. So I'm going to reach out to my friend who's really good at absurd stuff. Spencer Clark is one of my frequent collaborators. I'm like, yo, they want this cool thing. How much would it be for you to co-creative direct this with me? It's just only going to be one day of your time. This is the kind of money that I'm making on it. Would you be comfortable with this? We decide on a number, and then alongside him, I come up with a good idea. Now that I have that idea is almost fully baked. Then I reach to another side. Okay, Frankie, you're a lot better cinematographer than me. I want to showcase this in a very interesting way. Can we see this idea that we had that I just built with this guy? How do we elevate this idea as much as possible in the cinematography sense to tell this story? And then I get all of that, and then on set that day, I'm sending it balls to the wall, like no coin left unturned. I'm going as hard as I can, set after set, take after take, going, and the end product usually is something that I'm proud of. Obviously, there's a lot of editing involved in that. Get back to the cave, you're spending hours putting it together, trying to manage time. But when you reach out to different people, so reaching out to the collaborators, it allows for you. I'm also getting new takes and interesting perspectives, but also I'm getting new perspectives, but I'm also getting a very layered like product in the end, so that I'm providing something to the client that they weren't expecting, but also still satisfies their like desires. And I think you have to collaborate. Collaboration is one of the big bases of creativity, man.
How important has collaboration been throughout your career, not only on the fact of bringing multiple people to help you bring a project together, but somebody like Tucker who you can bounce ideas off of?
I think it's probably the single most important aspect of, because without collaboration, I've never have been able to turn a camera to myself. Whether it's like Nat Garnenez, who was in college with me, who would be like, yo, you want to split this drive? It's like 14 hours. I'm going to do 10, but just hit sunrise. When I get tired, you hit sunrise. The collaboration process started. It's just impossible for me. It's always been impossible for me to do it alone from jump. So it's something that has come second nature to me. And then now we move to transition to video. We're outside in the wilderness. I'm not going to carry my tripod. I'm gonna just hike on the day that Marcel is hiking, and maybe he'll get a few shots of me. Yo, what's up? And then all of a sudden we're talking, we're deepening our bond. We get to the spot. I'm telling him how I want it. It's like, it's always been a process of collaboration, and it's just been inseparable from my creativity from jump. Now, sometimes like that collaboration thins and grows depending on how creatively demanding the process is or what time of the year is, i.e. COVID. COVID was a nightmare, man. It was a nightmare. I was in Atlanta by myself for the entirety of COVID. Didn't see anyone. Family's on the other side of the world. I still had to like figure it out, So I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it does.
Oh man, I got PTSD from COVID.
What's a misconception people have about being a full-time creative?
I mean, this is an answer that a lot of people give to this specific question, is that people expect it to be extremely exciting, and it is exciting. But I feel like because what you're showing is subjective, you choose when to turn on a camera. There's a lot of stuff that people don't see. A lot of it, specifically for me, I want to speak specifically from my perspective, is that a lot of management it takes not to burn out, and a lot of time it takes to manage interpersonal relationships with your girlfriend, your brother, your sister, your family members. All this stuff, that stuff is such a big, important part of life that sometimes is hurt, like due to the amount of time that you're spending trying to build something. And I think this goes a lot for any business venture that you're going for, but it's so easy to pour yourself into it. So I look to a lot of people who are very experienced in like time management, like Adrian, for example. He's insane.
He loves that
time blocking.
He is
Brother loves
he's
that calendar.
cracked at
It's
time
like-
blocking. Yeah, like
all the way down.
I don't know how he does it. So I'm always trying to get pieces of advice from those kind of people to manage my time so that I can pour back into it, because your personal life can really suffer, especially if you're in love with the process of making whatever it is that you're making.
Yeah. Do you have a piece of content or something you've worked on that you're most proud of?
Ooh. I don't necessarily know. I think because I'm so like micro-analyzed, I fall in love with the process when I'm making it. I close the chapter and it's on to the new thing. Because I feel like if I start to put something on a pedestal, then I'm always trying to make it back to that certain thing, and it doesn't allow me to propel myself forward. I could use like the parameters of like metrics to be that deciding factor, but then it feels like that's not a true deciding factor of what my art is at the moment. You know, like if it performs well doesn't mean it's like a good piece of
Sure.
like, work, you know?
Okay, so I'll rephrase my question then. What opportunity have you gotten through creating content and being a full-time creator that has like juiced you up the most? Is there an opportunity that you've gotten where you're like, man, this is next level?
Yeah, I mean, this is an exciting one. I'm probably jumping the gun on this one a little bit, but my girlfriend has been working on a show. The show is titled, my girlfriend is a live performer, Broadway, live performance, that kind of stuff. She's been working on a show called Gun and Powder for the last maybe like 5-6 years of her life. And over the process of us dating and her involvement with our involvement together, the show's name show's evolved in so many ways. She met her best friend on the show. Now the show's titled Wanted. Like they're in a stage where the show's about to get propelled to Broadway, and it germinated from this tiny little baby that she worked on with her best friend that she met at the time. I think I'm going to be involved in the creative process of being part of the social media team that brings this new age show to the world, and just feeling that is only born through the process of love and relationship with my girlfriend is like something that is like kind of interesting for me. I think a very similar thing with the little piece that I made for Kevin, one of my close friends who just won the Cheetah Rivera Award for dancing, is something that didn't take me a lot of time, but I find that sometimes when it's these tiny little pieces that like mean something to someone else or mean something to me, it makes me so excited about it. Then it feels like, oh yeah, this is an extension of myself. You know, that's what really gets me jazzed up about stuff.
And you're able to share your gift with someone you truly care about.
True, exactly.
As opposed to, you know, the numbers are what they are on social,
that's true.
but sometimes, most of the time, you're not interacting with these people in real life.
That's what it is.
And so I think you're drawn to these projects that you're working on, that you're able to, you know, create with people that you love, but also share your gift with people you truly care about.
Yes, yeah. And it's one person who can engage with it in a tactile and meaningful way. Like, not only did I make this video, but I made this video for you about one of the biggest moments of your life. And we did it together in a few days. How crazy is that? Whoa, let's watch it again. Yo, rerun that shit. Let's watch it again.
Run it back. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of where I'm trying to push myself mentally.
You've also been working on something fun with Shkr.club. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is? What's going to be happening?
Oh, wow. Okay, so over the last few months, I've been trying to put together a space. I think speaking to your last point, actually, one of the things that I find that is most lonely about social media, the process of creating, is just such a lonely process. Like creating is such a solo-driven process. There's not a lot of opportunities for us to meet in real life and enjoy stuff for real, or even online, like a place for people to like kind of dive deep into creativity. And I think what my goal is with the Shkr.club was to create avenues for people to make stuff on a frequent basis in person, and also be able to engage with each other in an environment where everyone else is invested in the same things. Like, just imagine like twice a year you get to go on a trip with a whole bunch of new creators, or a whole bunch of talented and old like vested creators who are passionate about the exact same thing that you're passionate about. I feel like that did wonders for me, because through the process of collaboration, I got to do that with people, and I want to give that experience to other people. So I'm trying to carve out a space online where I can do it. a space where people can get that experience and hopefully see where it leads. I feel like this is genuinely going to be like my creative baby, in the sense that I think that there's space for me to carve out legacy here and to show, because social media is such a flash in the pan. I provide value for this, you take it in, I save it, boom, it's gone, But I want to leave lasting impressions in people's hearts and minds that they can then take and share with other people. That's what I'm super stoked about, and that's what I'm trying to do with this.
And it's taken you, what, year and a half, 2 years that you've been working on it?
Not because I've been like diving deep, but because social media is a rat race and it's always pulling me away from it. This is work that I could have done it's just like a simple e-commerce situations, sorting stuff out and designing a beautiful website. But because my attention is so split, because I'm not able to fully pour myself in, it'll come Christmas and I'm like, all right, okay, no clients for 3 weeks, let's go. And then I'm like, oh yeah, we should do this. Yeah, okay, let's figure it out, put it in place. All right, we'll go and then January's coming, emails already come in, then I gotta slow down for a little bit. And then my birthday comes, it's Valentine's Day, so I'm taking personal time off. I'm trying to be as rounded and as human as possible in all aspects of my life. And it's what's been most difficult about this process, because I'm only one person, Now I'm bringing people on. Now I have a project manager and a designer, a cinematographer, on the process to kind of like make it feel as wealthy as possible. But if all the money's coming from just solo investment in this venture, then it's tough. It's kind of
totally
tough. So that's what's taking the time. Sorry.
You described it to us as a mix of Patreon, masterclass, and Pinterest. So can you explain really what Shkr.club is and what the website's going to be? Okay, so I think first things first, I'm a very big visual learner. So I like to see pretty stuff, I like pretty stuff that's curated in a specific way. And certain kind of images I found create a certain kind of creative spark in me that makes me want to make stuff. And I want to be able to collect. Over the last few months, I've been combing every single corner of the internet, collecting inspiration, but also more importantly, trying to find out where the original source of that inspiration was. So you click on it on the website and it takes you right to the Instagram page or right to their website or right where the very first Tumblr post. I think that's more important. And it's something that Pinterest struggles with a lot. You click on Pinterest and it's just a whole bunch of cool stuff, but who made it? And you swipe up and it's the exact same photo 4 different times. You're like, damn, what's the original one? I want to be able to track down the original post and engage with whoever made it, so that hopefully it leads to maybe a collaboration or at the very least more inspiration in that specific vein that I want to do. So that's one of the legs I'm doing. And then artist highlights. I feel like there's a lot of value in the creative process of every single person. There's a creator in New York titled, his name is Jordan Studdard. He's a tinker, maker, builder kind of individual.
His studio's crazy.
He's wild. So he's going to be the first artist highlight that I'm covering. I'm covering the entirety of his creative process, create the video, put a little snippet on YouTube, but put it all on my website so that people have a variety of different artists that they're making stuff. And sometimes it's going to be a big photographer, a big cinematographer. We're also covering one of my friends, Morgan, who's shooting a commercial for Sonos across British Columbia, where else? Wyoming, Los Angeles, covering the entirety of the creative process, breaking that down. I'll put it on the website. That's just another artist highlight. Trying to collect all these different creative processes from different creators and put it together in a way that it's easy to digest and for people who have short form brain. You know what short form brain is? I want to scroll so quick.
Dude, I don't think I can't even watch a movie.
Yeah, I understand that, and I want to try and make it digestible for people who feel that way, so that they can get value from this stuff very quickly. And then the last pillar is the in-person activations, meetups, galleries. I think my very next venture is to do a big potluck photo competition where I print a whole bunch of people's work that I've collected online from the club, and allow people to see their work in print for the very first time. Invite your friends, invite your family. Not a ticketed event. It's just
pull up.
Put your email in there. We get all that, and then pull up. We got drinks. Let's vibe. Let's all just yap and talk. That's so exciting to me.
Try to
bring a
people-
side
yeah.
if you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Potluck.
Yeah. Like bring a roast. Come on.
No, I think that's
Or
good
chopped
to
cheese.
bring people together,
Yeah.
especially because it's something we found, right? Is it's so lonely. You're doing this
Oh
by
my
yourself
gosh.
for years, especially when you're starting and you don't have the connections yet.
Yes.
It is so isolating, and you're just in your room, editing your photos.
What I just noticed talking about this now is I'm very, I think I'm very guarded about this thing that I've been working on because it's something that's vulnerable. It doesn't come like second nature to me. All right, okay, so I want to be an adult now. I'm going to try and make a second business. I'm going to try and build it, and I have to provide value. And talking about it makes it like, oh shit, and that's probably part of the reason why I haven't released it, because I'm so scared for other people experiencing it as well, and hopefully feeling the investment that I feel in it. And I think maybe that's just an opportunity to call out to do stuff that makes you uncomfortable, like stuff that you're not comfortable with. And then when you're getting comfortable, maybe there's space for you to explore and expand more in that space, so that you're constantly, as the seek discomfort guys, as yesterday you guys say, like seeking discomfort to lead to improvement. And that's like, it excites me to feel like nervous
that in
about talking
yourself,
about
yeah.
that. And I just want to call that out.
I think that's probably the perfectionism in you, and in a lot of artists. I think it's a big thing that holds a lot of people back. Is like, I need it to be perfect before the world sees it.
Yes.
I think something that we've realized with this podcast, we've been doing it for a little bit over 3 years, and where the show is now is way different than what it was when we first started. And I think that you just got to start and like iterate and make it better as it goes, because what you think is perfect at this current time, a year, 2 years after you've put it out, it's going to probably look a lot different, and you'll learn more, and the product will be better actually through putting it out and working through it.
Yeah. So we've slapped a hard date on it, and it's this month. I don't want to say.
Really?
Yeah.
What day?
No, I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna say. No. I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna say. No.
Makes it too real.
Yeah, you know, it makes it real life June 20. We'll see.
Let's go.
So I mean, like there's a lot of value to that, to like putting stuff out there and
Totally.
allowing people to interact with it, because then you have feedback to make it more specific to what it is that you want to do. And I think I just gotta let go.
It's scary though.
It's so scary, bro.
Especially because you worked on it for so long.
Yeah,
you're,
it's
like,
so scary. So like, oh, so
invested.
this what you were working on? That's what took you like 2 years? All right, bro. Okay, next, swipe.
I think people are gonna be excited. I think it's gonna be
we'll see,
super
we'll
fun.
The name Shkr though,
Yes.
it has a special meaning.
Yes. Yeah. So it's an abbreviated form of the moniker that I have, Shkr, which Abdul Shakur means servant of the most grateful. So by extrapolation, Shakur means the most grateful. So a constant reminder to myself to be continuously grateful. But I noticed that when people were like, depending on where I was, were saying the last word, Shaker. Sometimes they say Karl Shakur, and it felt like maybe a push in a direction for something that I felt very, very like comfortable with, which was like, I'm shaking, I'm moving, back to the thing back in high school that moved, like, I'm trying to shake out here, and hopefully people can feel like a sense of energy from like what I'm trying to build or what it is that we're doing, and whatever that energy is, to grab some of that energy, put it into their gas tank, and try and move in a specific direction that they're interested in. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do with this. I'm so nervous about it.
Dude, it's gonna be fucking sick.
Yeah.
Okay, you touched on burnout a little bit, and I've seen photos of you falling asleep behind your phone and computer work, and you work harder than most, I would say 99% of people. What do you do to refill your cup in those moments of you're traveling, you're moving, we're shaking?
Yeah.
When you're feeling like overwhelmed, when you have a lot of stuff on your plate, you're trying to balance work and personal life. How do you refill your cup besides doing the splits?
I'm gonna be honest. This is one of the things that I have not figured out yet. This is just, it's almost like a never-ending. It's like a bucket, like the peace, tranquility, and like stable-mindedness is like a bucket that has a reasonably sized hole in the bottom of it. And you got to get from one tap to the other, and you got to get there, because if you don't get there fast enough to like get that peace again, then it's gonna be empty. And I just have not figured out how to achieve that that stable tranquility over the long of like 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. Sometimes I'll go 3 weeks and I'm in my flow. I'm working out. I'm feeling the vibe, and then something will just throw it off, and it just throws me into a spiral. What I have noticed that is specific certain sort of things that really help me to pull me back: physical activity, time with loved ones, and play outside of what it is that I'm doing. So like whether that's building Legos with my girl, physical, like whether it's like trying to run more, lifting heavy, lifting hard, going on a hike, walk in a park, like sunlight in the morning, just moving your body. That gets me really excited. And then time with the boys, just cracking a cold one, like watching a movie, like you're spending like 3-4 hours gabbing and gibbing with the boys. It's so like refreshing, and you feel so supercharged through the process. Luckily, I'm someone who I get to work with a lot of my friends, so I can get little snippets here and there. But when you shut off work and invest in like personal moments, you come back feeling so supercharged through the process, and that's what I'm trying to do more of.
What would you say if you could go back and tell your 18-year-old self something?
Wow.
You go back, 18-year-old Karl, what would you say before you head out on this journey?
Wow. First off, learn video. Now. Get that computer out. Start posting on YouTube. Like, learn it now. I wish I had gotten a little bit more of a head start to diving into the things that I wasn't as skilled in, like video, storytelling, writing. Because there's a little bit of a leg up that like classical creators have, like people who have been on the platforms for much longer. And if you have that head start, obviously you have a little bit of a jump. So I truly empathize with people who are just starting out right now. I feel like rather than speaking to myself back then, I want to speak to myself 18 years old now in 2025. What would I do? I would say figure out what you want to do by one thing and one thing only: experimentation and constant experimentation. I want to try this. Oh, it's not working. I'll try this. I'm not working. I'll try this. Oh, I like that one. I'll come back there. Try. All that iteration, experimentation, whether it's through video, painting, writing, engineering, whatever it is, allows you to find out what excites you. And then when you're working on something that is exciting to you, it can only lead to you being more invested in the process and being more renowned in the process, which will ultimately lead to success.
I also I love that you brought up Legos. I also love that you brought up painting.
Oh,
Man, I think like such a great piece of advice is like get off the screen and go experience
Go
life.
touch some grass.
Yes, go touch grass.
Go touch grass.
Go touch grass.
That's big.
Go touch grass. Get out there. Put water on your back.
I love it.
Dive in some water type shit. You know what I mean?
This has been an insane conversation. Karl, I'm so hyped that we were able to get you on the
Man,
pod.
I'm
We
so
made
stoked.
it work.
I really appreciate you guys having me on. I was on a yap session for a second there. Hopefully this has been like, if there's a single nugget you take from this, I'd say consistency. Make and make again, and then when you're tired, make some more, and then take a break and then make some more, and hopefully affects someone.
Hey,
positive.
put your foot on the gas. Leave it there. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 158 of the 505 podcast. If you're still here, please drop us a comment. Leave us a like. Let us know if you're coming from Karl's page, and we'll see you guys all next week. Peace.
See ya.